We finally have some validated leak specifications for the Nikon Z8. Is it a stacked sensor? Will it do 8.3K oversampled 8K? Will it do 8K up to 60 frames per second? And will it shoot at 20 frames per second stills? All this and more coming up after this short break. But first, please do me a favor. Follow me on Twitter, but most importantly, subscribe. It doesn't cost you a cent, it means an awful lot to me, but most importantly, it really helps this channel grow. Okay, I'm going to get right to the leak specifications of the Nikon Z8 in just a moment, but first, an apology. I don't know what's been going on, but over the past couple of weeks, the processing of my videos at, well, YouTube have been taking an awfully long time, to the point where now, when I upload these videos, it can take 2, 3, or even longer hours to, well, process. Unfortunately, the time it used to take 10 to 15 minutes to give me a 4K video now takes 10 to 15 minutes to give me an ST version. And that SD version, well, that's what I usually go live with, assuming that the HD or the 4K version will come shortly thereafter. And as at time of recording this video here, the video that I published 2 to 3 hours ago is still processing, leaving it in 360p. And I'm getting frustrated with this. I've been talking with YouTube, trying to figure out what's going on, and they keep giving me canned answers saying it's going to take 48 to 58 hours to normally process 4K and HD videos. Well, you see, I've been doing this for 4 years, and normally 4K videos are done very, very quickly. Something's changed, and I don't know what's going on. So I have to look at a very real possibility of just canceling the channel altogether, because if I can't be first, then what's the point? Or looking at other platforms. So yeah, apologies. If you're watching this in 360p, I really do hope that the full HD or the 4K version will be available to you soon, but my apologies. All right, now let's get to the leak specifications of the Nikon Z8. Now the Nikon Z8 is going to have a 45.7 megapixel sensor, the same one found in the Nikon Z9. But is it going to be stacked? Yes, it is. A stacked full-frame sensor, the same one in the Nikon Z9, is going to be in the Nikon Z8. And in terms of video, this is good. It's going to do 8.3K 8K video at up to 60 frames per second. So all the basic frame rates, 24, 25, 30 frames per second, as well as 50 and 60 frames per second. And in terms of stills, well, I kind of got this one right. Well, I did get this one right. It's going to be able to shoot 20 frames per second electronic. Now, the one thing I didn't specify or didn't speculate, I thought it might have a mechanical mode, but this camera's 100% electronic, no mechanical mode. Now let's go back to the video specifications for a moment. All we have is 8.3K, 8K up to 60 frames per second. There's no mention of 4K, but it's pretty safe to assume it's going to do 4K, 24, 25, and 30 frames per second, as well as 50 and 60 frames per second. And I'd be really surprised if this camera doesn't do 4K, 100 and 120 frames per second. But will it do more than that? I don't really know. I think if it does a really good job at 4K 120 or 4K 100, then I think if the detail is there, the resolution is there, then I think that's sufficient. But in 1080, well, what will it do? We don't know. Again, I would expect at least 120 in 1080, but will they push it to, I don't know, maybe 180 or 240? We'll just have to wait and see. And the LCD, it's a tilting touch LCD, and the shutter speed, it's 1/32,000th of a second. Wow, it took me about 6 tries to say that properly. And let's take a look at some of the other specifications, because I haven't had a chance to memorize these yet. Memory cards, I nailed this one, as well as the 20 frames per second. It's going to have a single CF Express Type B card slot and a UHS 2 card slot. And that's not really surprising, because it's got to leave something for the Nikon Z9, right? And I know I got a few comments saying, yeah, come on, it will do two CF Express Type B card slots. Why wouldn't they? Like the GFX 100? Well, it looks like they didn't. All right, taking a look at some of the other specifications. It's going to be dust and drip resistant, same as the Nikon D850. Not really surprising there, is it? Dimensions, it's going to be 5.6 inches by 4.6 by 3.2. Or in the metric system, 144 by 118 by 83 millimeters. And it's going to weigh under 1 kilogram, and that's 2.2 pounds. The price? Ooh, 45.99 euros. And the Nikon Rumor says that's an equivalent of $5,000, but Nikon Rumors is incorrect in this case here, because what Nikon Rumors isn't realizing is that $45.99, that takes into account a value-added tax, which is anywhere from I think 18% to 25% depending on which European country you're in. So let's assume 20%. So if we take away that, factor the exchange rate based on $45.99, I'm going to say that the price of this camera is going to be $38.99 or $39.99 in US dollars, and that's of course pre-taxes. And if you live in states like New Hampshire where you don't have to pay tax, well, great. If you live in other places like Ontario, Canada, well, then you have to pay that exchange rate and you have to pay 13% tax. So not as good as New Hampshire, but not nearly as bad as Denmark, which I think is around 24 or 25%. And along with the specifications, we've got this new photo, and I like this. The resolution's a bit better. This is a smart looking camera. This looks really, really nice. I'm pretty excited about this. I'd love to get my hands on it, as I'm sure you would too. So this is the new Nikon Z8. I wouldn't be surprised if we start getting those teaser videos coming up, and well, what is it now? It's still Monday, but based on my time, by the time this video gets out, it'll be Tuesday here, Eastern time. And if you're watching in Asia, well, you're already well underway in your day, so I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a teaser video, well, within the next 12 hours or so. With all these leaks coming out, you know something's about to happen. It's pretty exciting. Sit back, relax, and I know if you're waiting for the official announcement, the official teasers, sit back, relax. We're seeing some really good information here. We're seeing that the Nikon Z8 is a really solid camera, stills and video-wise. Not nearly as good as the Nikon Z9, but then again, it's not going to cost nearly as much. And despite me thinking that it might be discounted compared to the R5 or the Sony A7 R5, it looks like the Nikon Z8 is going to be priced right around the same, right around that $38.99, maybe $100 more at $39.99. We'll just have to wait and see. There is a chance, I'll admit, that it could be $4,099, but it's not going to be $5,000. Now, if you're living in a state where there's a high tax rate, then yes, after you pay your taxes, it could go up. Now, one thing I've got in the links down below is they say pre-order links for the Nikon Z8 at Adorama and B&H. However, those are what we call smart links. They won't give you anything right now, but as soon as the Nikon Z8 is available for pre-order, these links will work. So if you want to go ahead and bookmark these links, use them later, then as soon as the announcement is there, refresh these, and you can be one of the first to pre-order the Nikon Z8. And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest camera news and rumors, as I told you in my previous videos, I was expecting leaked specifications coming out later today, and here they are. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to bring them, but thanks to Nikon Rumors for bringing out these leaked specifications, detailed, validated specifications for the Nikon Z8. So if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news, as more information as more information comes out, the teaser video, all that sort of stuff, go ahead and subscribe, but make sure you also choose all notifications. And by choosing all notifications, as soon as I publish a new video like this one here, well, you'll get notified, so that way you can stay up to date on all the latest camera news and rumors. And for all the minor news and rumors out there, well, then what I suggest you do is follow me on Twitter at this address here, because for all those videos that aren't quite big enough to have their own separate video, or maybe there's a price discount, for example, the Nikon Z6 Mark II, $300 off, that's the stuff I tweet out on a daily basis. It's not big enough to have its own separate video. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon. And again, I apologize for the 360p. I am again on a call right now. While I'm recording this video, I'm actually talking to YouTube trying to ask what's going on. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you again soon.